much construction goes on all over Canada, having a background in trades and working towards your apprenticeship to get your red seal can reap a lot of rewards over longer term. What is a red seal ticket? It represents the industry recognition of an interprovincial standard of excellence for skilled trades. What that really means is if an accountant goes to schooling, after that he would have to, for him to become a Canadian certified accountant, he needs to get his CGA or CPA. When we say CGA, what does that really mean? It means he is, if someone says I'm an accountant and I'm a CGA, that means that gives him instant recognition that he is certified accountant in Canada. He has gone through the training as well as education, practical and theory, to get a piece of paper that says he's a certified accountant in this country. So is a tradesperson when he gets his red seal. So a plumber or an electrician or a person who has red seal is recognized as a certified tradesperson in his trade once he has red seal. Red seal basically provides a stamp of approval on the tradesman capabilities and provide greater mobility for skilled workers across Canada. It's called interprovincial red seal. What that really means is interprovincial means a person when he or she decides that he or she wants to become an electrician. I'll just choose my trade as an example. He starts working as a helper in an electrical company. He works for X number of months or maybe a year. Then employer sends him to a full-time school to do level 1 training. That's called apprenticeship. Once it's level 1, he passes, he comes back to the employer, he works again for X number of months, typically 9-month pattern. He goes to school for 3 months, he comes back and works for the employer for 9 months. And this pattern repeats from level 1 to level 2 to level 3 and eventually to level 4. Level 4, when he finishes, if he finishes this level in Alberta, he becomes a journeyman of Alberta. If he finishes in Saskatchewan, he becomes a journeyman of Saskatchewan. But unless he gets his red seal, he is not a journeyman of another province. So typical pattern is a person writes an exam of his 4th year and he gets his journeyman license. 2 days later, when he writes his red seal exam, he becomes a journeyman of the whole country if he passes the 4th year the red seal exam. That's what this slide is all about. Now, what does Red Seal program do? It allows qualified tradespeople to practice their trade anywhere in Canada where the trade is designated. So a person who got his Red Seal in Alberta tomorrow decides to move to BC, he would still get the journeyman wage that he deserves because he is a journeyman all over Canada. He has got his journeyman ticket as well as Red Seal. Tradespeople who hold a red seal can also work anywhere in Canada, including Alberta, without further training or additional testing. What do you need to qualify for a red seal? In order to qualify for a red seal, you have to hold a valid certificate in trade that participates in the interprovincial standard red seal program. We have just talked about that. Benefits of getting a red seal, of course, respect is one, opportunity and of course a good pay. I remember I was teaching my last course in September. I had a person, I believe as a student in my class, and I believe his age would be around, he would be easy above 65. And I wondered why he showed up in my class, and he told me, he says he's retiring, he's moving to BC. This is the person I taught in Edmonton last month. And because he's moving to BC, he got his journeyman ticket 20 years ago, decided that he would never move away from Alberta. Now he's 65, he wants to go to a better city, and he said Vancouver was better than Calgary and than Edmonton. And for him to move to BC, he has a piece of paper that says he is a journeyman of Canada, which is Red Seal. That's why he shows up in the class after 20 years of getting a journeyman ticket in Alberta to get the Red Seal, such that he can, whenever he wants to work in BC, he still has certification to work as a journeyman in BC. So respect is one, of course, the opportunity is another. His reason was good pay. Even he wanted to work part-time when he moves to BC, but he wanted to be a journeyman such that he gets hired when he moves to BC. Where do we start from? As we just talked about, if someone wants to become an electrician or a plumber, he would try to find an employer. He keeps working with this employer for X number of months. It's up to employer when to send this candidate to school. So 6 months or a year down the road, employer becomes his sponsor. He sends this candidate to level 1 school for full time. This candidate goes there for 3 months, takes his education, comes back to the same employer, works again for another 9 months. That's typical, the pattern is, and then he goes back for level 2. And he keeps doing that for 4 years in a row, gets the practical training with the employer, theoretical training when he goes through, that's called technical training when he goes to school, and finishes his 4 levels. So this slide shows how he could go from apply to verification and to what this slide tells you is it can be done in 2 different ways. This is a typical pattern when a person is starting his apprenticeship from ground zero. But there must be a lot of people who come from other countries. Somebody like another candidate, let's say if he moved from Ireland and he has 20 years, 10 years of experience as an electrician or a plumber or heavy equipment technician, he doesn't have to start from scratch. All he has to do is go through a qualification process where he could challenge his Red Seal. And that's what ACE Trades and Technical Institute do, is we support our candidates to prepare for the exam such that they can successfully pass it. Now, list of regulated trades. It's all on the screen. For example, if someone says, I'm a cook, okay, I was a chef back home, for example, in the Philippines, he's been hired by Boston Pizza, and now does he has to pass his Red Seal exam to work as a chef? No, because he's not in the list of regulated trades. But if he's an electrician, absolutely he must have Red Seal certification before he can continue working in Alberta. List of optional certificates, as you guys could see, cook is one. That is not necessary to have a Red Seal. Carpenter is another, concrete finisher is another. All these trades are optional trades. It's ideal to get a Red Seal certification, but it's not necessary. What we do, we are a private training provider. We offer between 35 to 42-hour long courses on weekends and evenings to support the candidates preparing for Red Seal exam. So the trades we offer, this is actually a little older slide. This was last year. Now we typically offer about 15 trades: electrical, instrument tech, ironworking, millwright, plumbing, power line, pipe fitting, welding. We have added 4 or 5 more trades as well. I have the new brochures I will share with you after this presentation. All our courses are offered in class as well as via Skype as well. So let's say if a candidate is sitting in fact we have a bunch of candidates that are sitting in at the moment in India taking the class. What they do it is they take the class via Skype. They are planning to come to Canada in the next 3 to 6 months time. They apply to apprenticeship board, get their application approved. They come here as a visitor to write the exam, take the course while they're still in their home country, such that they have enough time to prepare. They show up, they pass the exam. Once they pass the exam, they go back to their home country, then apply for permanent immigration. Again, I'm not the immigration consultant, but I've been told this is the fastest way to get residency in Canada. We have helped hundreds of tradespeople personally located, locally residing in Canada as well as abroad in preparing for and successfully passing the exam. We do help people in apprenticeship challenge exams as well. So if someone went to school for level 1 and then he doesn't want to leave his job because every time he goes to school full time for 3 months he has to go on EI. Most of the guys are ideal situation is they should go to full-time school, but sometimes they cannot because of financial reasons, because for 3 months they're not making the income that they would make if they were working for the same employer. They end up challenging these exams. Out of the 4 levels, they can challenge 3 levels. We prepare for those challenge exams as well, for apprenticeship plus the Red Seal. Now, this pretty much finishes our formal part of the slideshow. Any questions that you guys have about how someone can gain certification of Red Seal? Yes, my dear. We provide the training that a candidate needs before he writes the Red Seal exam. The governing body of, you know how engineers have their own association, accountants have their own association, so is for tradespeople. The association is called Apprenticeship Board. Alberta has their own apprenticeship board, BC has their own, Saskatchewan, every province has their own apprenticeship board. Local body here in Alberta is called ATTI, Alberta Industry Training. So a candidate that is passing the Red Seal exam or planning to apply such that his application gets approved before he writes the exam is through ATTI. So the process is, let's say a candidate is been here for 6 or 8 months or even a year. He's working as a plumber. He already has 6 or 7 years of experience back home. He would contact Alberta Industry Training, fill a form that takes about 3 months for them to review the application. They would confirm the experience from here as well as back home. Once that person gets an approval to write the exam, he has 1 calendar year to pass that exam. Then he contacts our school, Ace Trades and Technical Institute, and we will put him in the next course. He will take the training, hopefully pass the exam the first time. Yes, my dear.
What are the costs?
The cost of the course is $1,500 plus the GST 1,575. What we do is, let's say if there is a candidate that is taking heavy equipment technician program, for example, that starts in November, and he's signing up now. The day he enrolls, we send him the material through Canada Post. He gets the material in 2 business days. We also share the contact information of the instructor with him the day he enrolls as well. So he has direct contact with the instructor. He goes through the material, any questions, anything that he has, he would keep direct contact with the instructor until he shows up in the class. Then he takes his full 6-day program. We offer these courses over a 6-day period. So it starts on a Monday, finishes on a Saturday. After the Saturday, he's still in touch with his instructor until he writes the exam. So all the tutoring offers, course material, shipping, everything is included in one price. Yes, my dear.
Any grants? Any financial grant?
Any financial help?
Grants, yeah.
Any financial branch?
Grant.
What does that mean? Grant?
Grants.
In BC, yes. In Alberta, no. I haven't found any, dear. I have some students that would come, because I am the electrical teacher as well, asking about if there is any financial help that they can get from Alberta. Sometimes we recommend them to go talk to Alberta Works, but from a financial funding standpoint, I don't think so there is any organization that does the funding. Some students take the loan to do it, and then the loan is very low interest that it's first $1,500 only. So they might pay over a longer period of time at no interest. I believe there are a lot of organizations that give you funding in Alberta, but that give you loan but not a funding. But in BC, you can get funding as well. Any other questions, guys? So nobody in this room is from trades at all, eh? Can I ask why you did not choose this trade? Especially younger individuals, this is an awesome avenue to look at. There is a lot of potential in trades. Good income, regular job, consistent work, lots of respect. I would strongly suggest that something for you guys to look at even for future, or maybe your younger siblings or your kids.